This is an outright showstopper, a freak of nature, and something that I really hope investors take a detailed look at. From the world of pre-war trading cards, how the turkey red product got it through manufacturing, how they convinced, their company to want to take such an aggressive move is anybody's guess. But what's transpired is one of the most beautiful and yet also condition sensitive issues. So what you have is this condition scarcity combined with what is arguably the most beautiful product ever made from pre-war. That's a problem, so we have something that's just so desired and yet so elusive. This example of this all-important card, arguably the most important depiction from that entire T3 production run of Cobb, is probably the best card for the grade as a 5 that we've brokered in our history. It's absolutely glistening throughout. It has attributes which frankly you just don't ever see on the issue. This is the kind of card where if you go back in the day, if it was raw, ungraded at a show, they'd probably call it near mint. There's light bits of wear to the periphery, a couple like surface flaws of varying amounts, but it's so uncirculated for a card of this size and magnitude that I would go as far to say this is about as good as this card is ever going to look. It's absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. Centered, clean, just a little bit of surface wear. We've given it our exceptional designation, so we're saying it's in the top 15% conservatively. I've not seen a 5 that I like more than this, so I would say if there's any one I was going to want to own, it'd be this one until I'm shown otherwise. But it's just a glistening example for the great assigned. It's also received a gold designation from Mike Baker, which is kind of similar to our exceptional designation. He has 3 different gradations, as do we, and this is his middle gradation of silver, gold, and black. So he too is in agreement that this is not just your typical 5, but a very special one. The coloring is amazing. Again, no surface wear to speak of. There's no major discoloration or toning. We have just a mild bit of wear of some kind along this bottom edge. It's very subtle. Short of that, though, there's really nothing that disturbs the evenness of the coloring anywhere on the card. Want to zoom in on some of these corners. You can see how beautifully formed these are. So often these edges are receiving massive damage and other types of flaws from being so oversized and mishandled over the years. Just light wear, extremely square still. Hopefully you can see what I mean. This is the kind of card that before we had technical grading that got very picky. People would call this card near mint and nobody would complain. It's just tiny little touches of wear to the extreme tips. So in the extremely harsh technical world, you might call this a 5, but I mean, it's harsh. It's like you have to start asking the question, okay, so if this is a 5, what are we saying? It's it means what, 8s don't exist? And the answer is, yep, that's basically what that means. This is an issue that will never receive technical grades, higher than a 5 or 6 with any kind of regularity, because it's just, it's basically impossible. So here we have it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is a card which is as good as it'll ever look. It's the best of the best. Just a 5, but one hell of a 5. And I just absolutely love it. Whatever it brings, it's too little. Irreplaceable and iconic. It just belongs in a museum.